lovelies, it's France with week 81 of the Journal on Monday series. Welcome back again, and today I'm playing with my jelly plate as this is the big winner of the poll on my blog. First, I'm applying some Fresco Finish acrylic paint on my jelly plate using my brayer, and this is texturized paper. It's actually a sample from wallpaper that I took at the do-it-yourself store. And I'm using it to lift off some of the paint so that I get a pattern on my jelly plate. So as I never used the first print, I made a first one, and this is actually the one that I will be using. Now to clean up my jelly plate, I spray some water, then I go over it with a baby wipe to take all the leftover paint away, and then I just roll some tissue roll to dry it. This is to clean my brayer, well, at least to take most of the paint of it. And as I will be going in with a lighter color, I really clean my brayer, otherwise I just leave it to dry. Now I'm doing the same, but this time I'm applying my paint over a stencil. And as you can see, I don't mix colors on my jelly plate because I want to keep this in the style I used to work in, which is quite monochromatic. So first print for nothing, and this is the one I will be using. Now as I still have quite some paint on it, I'm using it on whatever paper I have laying around. And as I still have some paint on my stencil, which is a Finivar stencil, I'm putting it back and rolling it on my jelly plate to make another print again on dictionary page. This is a vintage dictionary page. And again, this will help me clean my stencil, and I have a fun pattern on my paper. Now for the next layer, I'm mixing some colors on a stamp, but instead of stamping directly on my paper, I stamp it on the jelly plate, and this will allow me to have a very distressed look on my printed page. And then doing it again, applying the paint on my stamp and then printing it on my paper. If you do this at home, please clean your stamp immediately when you're done, otherwise you will ruin your stamp. This is a homemade stencil which you can't see, it's invisible. It's moth by Paper Artsy, and as it is quite delicate, I'm applying my paint with a brush to make sure it doesn't go underneath the stencil. Again, this was die cut in a piece of packaging plastic. And as I want some more, I'm cleaning up my jelly plate and then making some more prints. Someone, I think it's Susan, told me, what do you do with all those jelly printed pages? Well, actually I try to print only what I want to use. The only thing that I do print in leftover are my dictionary pages. And when I'm done, my clear jelly plate just goes back in the packaging. Now this sample paper, this texturized wallpaper, I'm going to use it as an embellishment, and I'm punching some circles, which I will be using on my spread. I'm trimming my page. This time I'm working in the Finivar Vanity Art Journal, which is smaller. So I'm choosing which piece of the paper I want to use. And as I like the print that I made on this one as well, I will use it as an embellishment. Using my Micron pen, I'm doodling around the moth on the paper to make it stand out just a bit more. And I'm using this Micron pen because it's quite old and almost empty, so it gives me a very fine very light, line. This is the mulberry bark, the natural mulberry bark by Handicraft. And this is some leftover gauze from last week that I want to use, as well as I like the colors together. Just assembling my embellishments now. This video is about 17 minutes long and it took me an hour and a half to get it done. While I was assembling my embellishments, I wanted to add a bit more printing, so I went in with white gesso that I'm mixing with some clear gesso so that it's quite translucent, and I'm applying it quite thick on my jelly, so I'm using this to spread it a bit more but to keep it quite thick, using this as a mask and then printing only the edges with the gesso. And now I can assemble all my embellishments. So I was saying, while I was doing this, I realized I didn't want to keep my spread this way, and you will see in the end what I mean by that, because at this point the embellishments just look like they're face to face, and that will change. If you would like to have a say on next week's video content, don't forget to check out my blog so that you can cast your vote on the poll. And you will find the complete list of ingredients of what I've been using today on my blog as well. And that's my kiddo showing me what I should be doing. He said the middle one wasn't in the middle of the spread. This mud was cut out of watercolor paper using the same die cut from Paper Artsy, and now I'm colorizing it using Dylusions. So I sprayed some water first, and now I'm mixing up some colors. Sorry about the sun coming through there. And then adding some splatters, just using the spray tube. And as you can see, I'm insisting I want some splatters exactly where I want them. Fixing an eyelet using the Big Bite, and then adding some distress ink again. This is a ticket that I had laying around that I've been colorizing using Ecoline. And again, I'm just assembling my embellishments. I want to make those not on the background pop a bit more, so I'm going in with dilution using a water brush. So I'm just going over the paint actually. Then I want some slight brown shades on it, so I'm going in with a neo color. Just very quickly adding some shading to it. And then doing the same with Gelato. Actually, I'm not thinking product when I'm doing this, I'm thinking color, and I'm grabbing what I have in the color that I want to use. So if I have it in Gelato, well, that's what I use. If I have it in neo color, I'm using a neo color. And this is a darker brown Gelato again. Just shading a bit. Adding some stamping on the tag, and I did it with distress ink, but I also sprayed some water on my stamp so that the distress ink bleeds a bit more. And then using my Uniball Vision, I'm adding some journaling. This is not such a happy spread. For me, the subject was a bit, well, an unhappy one, but that's okay, it's part of the game. That's just like what you would do in a journal. You don't keep your journal only to write happy things. So it's the same with an art journal, in my opinion. Adding a crinkle ribbon that I had laying around. And then adding some sewing. And the sewing might look a bit weird at this point, but you will understand why later on. That's what I said about the embellishments looking like they were face to face. That will change. And this is a home rusted paperclip. Someone asked me what kind of jars these are. Those are actually empty pen pastel jars, which is very handy to keep your metallic embellishments, your small metallic embellishments together. And then using a brad, I'm placing my colorized knot in place. And that's where I decided to add some stamping, just using distress ink. And on the left you see the binder that I made for the mixed media plays blog. So I'm cutting my spread in half and then adding it to my journal. And as you can see, I switched both halves so that the embellishments are now side to side instead of on the opposite of the spread. And it fits with the wording that I will be adding in the end. Now that I had it done in my journal, I realized that I needed some more embellishments on the other side as well, as it wasn't working for me just like this. So I just collected the same kinds of embellishments that I used for the first half and then placed everything together. Now, as my spread is already glued down, it's a bit complicated to stick everything to the paper. So I'm going in with matte accents and some 3D foam. And then I'm also adding a little heart made of cold porcelain. Going in with some Dylusions to add some splatters, and to keep them in the background, I'm blotting them before they have the time to dry. So even if I dry them with my heat gun, I don't dry them completely. What I like about this is that you also have splatters on your journal doing it this way, and that makes everything work together. Now once I was done, I also added some journaling, which you won't see me do on camera because I did it after I turned my camera down. But you know how I do that, so you don't need to see that. I wish you all a super duper fantastic 2014. I hope you liked today's video and see you back next time. Ta-da!